Whoever doesn't bring in a paycheck can damn well do the work. My name is Alexandra, and that was the moment I realized the man I had married wasn't saving for our future. He was putting a price tag on my soul, and because I was living in his parents' house, jobless, pregnant, and utterly dependent, I was cheap. I wasn't earning, so I was expected to work out there in the fields with a belly so heavy it felt like I was carrying the weight of all my bad decisions, while he, the breadwinner, the man with the respectable salary, got to rest. My life, this quiet tragedy, began the day I said, I do. Or maybe it began the day I fell in love. I'm still trying to figure that out. I was 23, fresh out of college with a degree in graphic design. I hadn't even started applying for jobs when I saw those 2 pink lines on a pregnancy test. So, the plan changed. Get married, have the baby, and figure out the career later. It seemed romantic, in a way, an adventure. I'd been dating Michael for a year. He was 5 years older, the brother of my college roommate, Chloe. Chloe and I were inseparable, so I spent half my weekends at her family's home, a sprawling property an hour out of the city. I was a city girl, used to sirens and concrete, but their life was idyllic. A huge farmhouse, acres of apple orchards. They turned into a boutique cider business. It was charming, and so was Michael. He was the stable, handsome older brother, a project manager at some mid-level tech firm, pulling in nearly 6 figures. In a town like theirs, that made him royalty. He had his life figured out, while I was still dreaming. He noticed me. Chloe played matchmaker, and just like that, we were a couple. It was easy. It was passionate. And fire, when it's close to kindling, eventually burns. One weekend, Chloe was away at a concert. I stayed at their place, alone in the guest room. Michael came in. The air was electric. When you're that deep in love, you don't think about consequences. You just feel. And then, I was pregnant. Luckily, I was just about to graduate, so my studies weren't derailed. We had the wedding right after I got my diploma. It was small, beautiful. His parents, Mr. and Mrs. Peterson, were so kind. They insisted I move in with them, just until the baby comes. His mom, Sarah, had said, "Save your money, get on your feet. We can even help you find a teaching assistant job at the local school when you're ready." I felt so welcomed, so loved. But you never really know people until you live with them, until you share their air, their silence, their secrets. The Peterson family was well off, at least by local standards. They'd just finished renovating the main farmhouse into this beautiful, modern space. But that comfort came from backbreaking work. Every single day, from sunrise until well after sunset, Mr. and Mrs. Peterson were out in the orchards, pruning, picking, managing. They were machines. They never asked me to join them, of course. My job was simple: keep the house clean, do the grocery shopping, have dinner ready. A fair trade, I thought, especially since the first trimester had hit me like a truck. I was exhausted, nauseous, and pretty useless for anything else. The problem wasn't his parents. The slow, creeping dread that began to poison my days. It came from my husband, from Michael. His parents were gone all day, so the household budget was my responsibility. But the money was his, and he held the purse strings so tight they were starting to cut off my circulation. On a salary of over $80,000 a year, Michael gave me $500 for a month to feed 5 adults, plus a pack of hungry farm dogs. $500. Have you ever tried to feed 5 people on that? In this economy, the cost of groceries, cleaning supplies, toiletries, dog food. I mean, a single bag of quality rice is a significant chunk of that. Their family business was apples and pears. They didn't grow vegetables or raise chickens. Everything had to be bought. The $500 was gone in 2 weeks. I had stretched every penny, bought store brands, used coupons, and it still wasn't enough. When I finally worked up the courage to ask him for more, he looked at me, not with concern, but with cold, hard judgment. His eyes narrowed. Already? Alex, it's only been 2 weeks. How did you burn through $500? I didn't burn through it, Michael. Food is expensive. Everything is expensive. You need to be smarter about it. Plan your meals better. This is just wasteful. At this rate, we'll be broke. I tried to explain, to show him the receipts, but he just kept shaking his head, muttering about budgets and responsibility. From that day on, the monthly allowance stopped. Instead, every morning, he would leave a $20 bill and a $5 bill on the kitchen counter. $25 for the entire day, not a penny more. There were days I'd walk past a bakery, and the smell of a fresh croissant would make my pregnant stomach ache with longing. Or I'd see a perfect, ripe mango at the store and feel a pang of desire so sharp it almost brought tears to my eyes. But I never had a single dollar to my name, not one. When we got married, he took all the gift money. I'll put it in our savings account, he'd said. If you need anything, just ask. But I learned very quickly that asking meant being judged, questioned, and usually denied. You're probably wondering, why did I fall in love with a man like this? A cheap, controlling, what's the word? A miser. But that's the thing. He wasn't like this when we were dating. Not at all. He threw me a surprise birthday party, invited all my friends. He'd take me and Chloe out for dinner without a second thought. He wasn't extravagant, but he was generous, kind, or so I thought. I can't explain the change. I honestly can't. The prenatal vitamins I took, my mom bought them. The single pair of comfortable maternity jeans I owned, a gift from my mother. Every time I went home to visit my parents in the city, I'd come back with bags of supplies they'd bought me, things a husband should be providing. It was humiliating. Everyone in their small town knew the Petersons were comfortable. They knew Michael had a great job, and yet his wife didn't have enough money to buy herself a bottle of Tums for her heartburn. My own mother would slip me $100 bills, whispering, just in case, sweetie. Once, I tried to talk to my mother-in-law about it. I gently mentioned that Michael was being a little tight with money. She just patted my hand and defended him. He's being responsible, Alexandra. That's a good thing. He's saving for you, for the baby, for your future. He's not out spending it on other women, is he? You should be grateful he's so frugal. A man who throws money away is a man who lets his family starve. What could I say to that? Nothing. So I learned to live with it. I just had to hold on until the baby was born, until I could get a job and have my own money, my own independence. The daily allowance was always short. I started using the money my mom gave me to cover the difference. I saw a simple, comfortable maternity dress I wanted to buy. It was $40 at a local boutique. He said it was too expensive. You can find something for $10 at the thrift store. He wouldn't even consider it. When I asked for money to buy things for the baby's nursery, he waved me off. Don't be ridiculous. My mom has boxes of old baby clothes from me and Chloe. We'll just use those. Why waste money? Then came that Sunday, the day it all cracked open. My mother-in-law, her back aching from a long week, asked Michael if he could help his father load some crates of apples onto the truck. He was lying on the couch, scrolling through his phone. He didn't even look up. He just said it, casually, like he was commenting on the weather. Whoever doesn't bring in a paycheck can damn well do the work. He didn't say my name. He didn't look at me. But in that house, there was only one person who didn't bring in a paycheck. Me. I felt the blood drain from my face. Tears welled up in my eyes, hot and shameful, and I quickly turned away so no one would see them fall. Was this it? Was this the person I had chosen? A man who was stingy, I could handle. But this was contempt. And it got worse. I learned that his frugality was reserved only for me, for his family. Out in the world, he was a different person, generous, gallant, the life of the party. I knew because when I did his laundry, I'd find them. Credit card receipts tucked into his jeans pockets. $150 for drinks with his colleagues. $200 for dinner at a steakhouse. In his world, he was a king, buying loyalty and friendship. At home, he was a tyrant, counting every penny his pregnant wife spent on groceries. The more I endured, the more he took for granted. The more he looked down on me. My existence was reduced to my economic value, which, in his eyes, was zero. Those final, heavy weeks of pregnancy passed in a blur of quiet misery. Then, our daughter, Lily, was born. And because my in-laws were in the middle of their busiest harvest season, it was my own mother who took me and the baby home from the hospital. For that first month, Michael visited us once. When the second month came, his mom started calling, telling him to bring his wife and daughter home. He'd make excuses. It's better for them there. My mom can help her. It's too chaotic here. By the third month, his parents practically ordered him to go get us. So he did. But after 3 months apart, he was a stranger, distant, cold. I was so busy with the baby, with the endless cycle of feeding, changing, and cleaning, that I barely had time to notice. Or maybe I just didn't want to. You know what it's like with a newborn, right? The exhaustion that seeps into your bones, the complete loss of self. I did it all. The cooking, the cleaning, the laundry, the baby, all of it. Michael would come home from work, put on his headphones, and disappear into his video games. It didn't matter if Lily was screaming her head off. He wouldn't lift a finger. On the rare occasion I begged him to hold her, he'd last maybe 5 minutes before handing her back. His parents were busy. Chloe was young, single, living her own life. She'd come home from her job, shower, and go out with friends. She tried to help, but Lily was a fussy baby and didn't take to anyone but me. So I was alone. And the money? It was a constant, throbbing source of anxiety. We had a baby now. There was formula, diapers, wipes, vitamins. So many new expenses. And still, every morning, he left $25 on the counter. No more. My parents became our secret benefactors. Every week, I'd drive to their house and my mom would load up my car. A case of diapers, a tray of eggs, a giant bottle of laundry detergent, sometimes a 50-pound bag of rice. Can you imagine the shame? To be married to a man everyone thinks is successful and have to take handouts from your parents like a teenager. Chloe saw what was happening. She saw me loading my car one day, and her face just fell. She talked to her mother, and that's when Mrs. Peterson started slipping me an extra $200 a month. They weren't bad people. They were just busy, lost in their world of harvests and profits. They had 2 people running an operation that needed 10. They were just trying to survive, but the one person who should have been my partner, my support, he did nothing. The breaking point came after a string of sleepless nights. Lily had a fever. I was up with her for 3 nights in a row, rocking her, sponging her down, my body screaming with fatigue. And Michael slept soundly beside me. Not once did he wake up. Not once did he ask if I needed help. On the third morning, as the sun came up, I looked at his peaceful, sleeping face, and I felt nothing. Not love, not even anger anymore. Just a vast, hollow emptiness. I had married him for love, for partnership, for respect, and in return, I got a roommate who paid for groceries. I wasn't his wife, I was his live-in maid, a maid he didn't even have the decency to pay. After a month of turning it over and over in my mind, I made a decision. I was leaving. I would take my daughter and I would raise her myself. My friend told me to think it through, and I told her. After a year of being an unpaid servant for my husband's family, I want to be a mother, a person. I have self-respect. When I told my parents, they didn't argue. They just nodded. My mom hugged me and said, "If you're not happy, you come home. This house will always be your home. We'll help you with Lily. You can go back to work. You won't have to depend on anyone ever again." That was all I needed to hear. That afternoon, I wrote the divorce petition. Then I opened my closet and started packing. I caught my reflection in the mirror, and I didn't recognize the woman staring back at me. Her face was gaunt, her eyes hollowed out with exhaustion. Her hair was thrown up in a messy, careless bun. Her clothes were old, stained with baby spit up. In just 1 year, marriage had eroded me into this stranger. It was time to find myself again. I packed my bags, then called my in-laws. I told them I was taking Lily to my parents for a few days. They didn't suspect a thing. I held my 3-month-old daughter in my arms, dragged my suitcase to the door, and called a taxi. As we drove away, I looked back at the house that was supposed to be my home. I felt a profound sadness, but no regret. I would not fail my daughter. Her life would be better than this. Anything would be better than a life with a man who didn't see her mother as a human being. At 7 p.m., Michael came home. He was late. He'd gone out for beers with his colleagues after work. Chloe was out too. His parents were still working. He walked into a dark, silent house. The kitchen was cold. He muttered to himself, annoyed. Where the hell is she? Can't even bother to be home to make dinner. He collapsed onto the couch and pulled out his phone to call me. His voice was laced with irritation. Hello? You're not planning on coming home to make dinner? Do you know what time it is? I took a deep breath. The divorce papers are on the nightstand in our room. You should read them. There was a pause. Then he laughed. A short, incredulous bark. He didn't believe me. We hadn't been fighting lately. There was no big blow-up. For him, this was coming out of nowhere. Are you insane? Don't joke like that, Alex. If you really want a divorce, just say it. Don't play these stupid games. I'm not playing games, Michael. I'm not free enough for that. Just go upstairs. You'll see. He must have run, because I could hear him breathing heavily. I heard the rustle of paper, a long silence, then a voice I barely recognized, dripping with ice and contempt. You want a divorce? Fine, you'll get one. I'm signing the papers. I'll see you in court. Fine, I said, my voice shaking. I'll raise Lily. You don't have to worry about her ever again. But he had already hung up. I put the phone down, a long, shuddering sigh escaping my lips. A man's cruelty, I realized, is never more clear than when he feels he's lost control. When his parents and Chloe found out, the house erupted. His mother called me, first demanding to know if it was true. Then, when I confirmed it, she started screaming. Not at me, at Michael. His father, a quiet man, just kept saying he was worried about his granddaughter Lily, and ordered Michael to go to my parents' house and apologize immediately. Only Chloe was quiet. Michael, overwhelmed by the shouting, just stormed out of the house. That's when Chloe sat her parents down. Her mom, Sarah, was still fuming. I don't understand. Why would Alexandra suddenly want a divorce? What did Michael do that was so terrible? Chloe sighed, a sound heavy with a wisdom beyond her years. Mom, it's not one thing. It's 1,000 little things. Alex is exhausted. She's been treated like a servant, not a wife. She does everything. And what does she get in return? Nothing. No help, no appreciation, no respect. But a wife is supposed to support her husband. We are busy. We can't help her right now. But everything we earn, it's for them, for their future. Chloe looked her mother straight in the eye. Okay, Mom, let me ask you something. What if every morning Dad handed you $25 and told you that had to cover all the food for this entire family, for the whole day, plus diapers and formula and everything else Lily needs? Could you do it? Do you have any idea what it's like to be married to a man who makes a great salary, but you have to go to your own mother's house just to get a bag of rice? Her mother blinked, speechless. I had no idea it was that bad. But people can talk about these things. You don't just get a divorce. And it's not just the money, Chloe pressed on. He counts every penny with his own wife and child, but he's out buying rounds of drinks for his buddies at work. I've seen the receipts. We're talking hundreds of dollars a month, and he has never, not once, bought a single can of formula for his own daughter. He's not being frugal, Mom. He's being cheap. And worse, he doesn't respect her. Lily gets sick, Alex is up all night with her, and he's in bed, snoring. She quit, Mom, and I don't blame her. Sarah's face softened, the anger replaced by a dawning horror. She just sighed. So what do we do now? Mom, do you want Alex back? Do you want Lily to grow up in this house? Her mother nodded frantically. Yes, of course I do. A divorce. It's terrible for the child. Okay, Chloe said, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. Then we have to do this my way. You and Dad have to trust me, and you have to play along. What is it, honey? We're going to fix Michael. We're going to let him see exactly what his life is like without Alexandra. We're going to make him suffer. Only then will he ever understand what he lost. Her mom looked at her dad, then back at Chloe. A slow, determined nod. Okay, we'll do it. That first week at my parents' house was like coming up for air after being held underwater for a year. With my mom and dad helping with Lily, I finally felt light. My father, a retired history professor, was completely smitten with his granddaughter and would hold her for hours. My mom cooked all my favorite meals. I was a daughter again, not just a wife or a mother. I was being taken care of. They told me to take my time, to heal, but to start looking for a job whenever I felt ready. For the first time in a long time, I felt a glimmer of hope. Meanwhile, back at the farmhouse, Michael's new reality was setting in. As was his habit, he'd come home from work and head straight for the fridge, looking for leftovers. In the past, there was always something. A plate of food I had saved for him. Now, the fridge was bare, save for a single, withered bunch of celery. His stomach rumbled. He walked into the living room and saw Chloe lying on the sofa, scrolling on her phone. Chloe, why didn't you make any dinner? He snapped. She looked up, a picture of innocence. Oh, Mom and Dad are eating out at the orchard tonight. They said we're on our own. I just had some instant noodles. There might be another packet in the pantry if you want. If not, feel free to make yourself something. Noodles. I can't live on noodles, he grumbled. Well, you could always go grocery shopping in the morning, she said sweetly. Just leave some stuff in the fridge, and I'll cook it for us tomorrow night. I leave for work too early to shop, he grunted. I'm a man. I don't know how to grocery shop. Chloe just shrugged. Well, you better learn. And hey, maybe you'll finally see how far that $25 you gave Alex every day actually goes. Should be a piece of cake, right? It's such an easy job. He shot her a dirty look and stomped into the kitchen. Chloe, where are the noodles? Oh, shoot, she said, not looking up from her phone. I think I ate the last packet. Sorry, you'll have to run to the store. He groaned. Too lazy to go out, he just boiled 5 eggs and ate them with salt. As he was choking them down, Chloe walked past and clapped him on the back, making him gag. Whoa, you okay there, big bro? Don't choke. She poured him a glass of water. So, Mom and Dad are really staying at the orchard. For how long? He asked, once he could breathe again. Yep, she said casually. They said someone's been stealing fruit from the north field, so they're going to stay in the trailer out there to keep an eye on things. It's almost harvest time. They can't afford to lose any of it. He didn't say anything. He just finished his eggs in silence, then went upstairs, showered, and lay down in the big, empty bed. Suddenly, he missed her. He missed Lily. He wondered what they were eating for dinner. He picked up his phone to call, but his pride stopped him. He put it back down. The house was so quiet. Chloe had gone out. It was just him. He was so bored. He didn't even feel like playing his video games. Before, he could play all night. Now, it felt pointless. He tossed and turned for what felt like hours. Morning finally came. He went downstairs. Chloe was already gone. Of course, a note on the fridge said she'd spent the night at a friend's. He was hungry. He went to get a glass of water from the filter pitcher. It was empty. Of course it was. Hungry and thirsty, he just sighed, got dressed, and left for work. Near his office, he stopped at a deli and bought a breakfast sandwich and 2 cartons of milk. He sat at his desk, eating grimly. His coworker, Dave, leaned over, fighting with the wife again, Mike. Michael didn't want anyone to know they were on the verge of divorce, so he forced a smile. Nah, just wanted a change of scenery. You know, it's nice to eat what you want, when you want. No one to answer to. Dave just shook his head. If you're so happy, why do you look like you're eating a shoe? Face it, man. Just go home and make up with her so you can get a decent home-cooked meal. Trust me, you keep eating that gas station garbage. You're gonna regret it. Michael just grunted and finished his food. But Dave was right. An hour later, his stomach started to cramp. He spent the next hour running back and forth to the men's room. When he came back to his desk, pale and sweating, Dave was trying very hard not to laugh. Told you, Dave whispered. Michael just shot him a death glare. I think the milk was expired. You should go home, man. You look terrible. What's the point? Michael mumbled. The house is as empty as a church on a Tuesday. Realizing he'd said too much, he quickly changed the subject and buried himself in his work. That evening, he came home to the same dark, silent house. The wilted celery was still in the fridge. He sank onto the sofa, overwhelmed by a feeling of loneliness so profound it physically hurt. He remembered all the times he'd come home to the smell of dinner cooking, to Alex asking him how his day was. He'd barely even answered her most of the time. Now, he'd give anything to hear her voice. Just then, Chloe came in, flipping on the lights. God, why is it always so dark in here? It's like a morgue. If this keeps up, I'm just gonna move in with my friend. Chloe, he said, his voice weak. Can you please cook something? Sure. Did you go to the store? No. Well then, am I supposed to cook with my imagination? She snapped. He just looked at her, defeated. Here, he said, pulling out his wallet. Go buy something. She glanced at the clock. It's almost 8, Michael. Everything's closed. I can see if the pizza place is still open. Fine. Just hurry. I'm starving. She took her time. A long time. She went and window shopped for shoes, browsed a bookstore, and finally, after he'd called her 3 times, she came back with a single box of pizza. He was so hungry his vision was blurry. I'm back, she sang out. Sorry it took so long. The place nearby was closed. I had to drive all the way across town. Michael hated takeout. He was used to real food, to Alex's cooking. She made the best lasagna. God, he could almost taste it. He ate the pizza, but every bite felt like chewing on cardboard. His eyes started to burn. Chloe knew he was miserable, but she played dumb. What's wrong? You look like you're about to cry. First time your little sister ever bought you dinner? He didn't answer. She sighed dramatically. You know, I really miss Alex. And Lily. It was nice coming home to a real meal every night. Hearing her say it made the lump in his throat even bigger. He was starving, but he couldn't swallow another bite. Chloe's voice softened. Can I be serious with you for a minute? Are you sad that they're gone? He nodded, not trusting his voice. Do you regret any of it? Silence. Because if you still love them, she said gently, you need to figure out where you went wrong. And I mean really figure it out, because I guarantee you will never find another person who will be as good to you as she was. He just sat there, frozen. Think about it from her side, just for 1 second, Chloe continued. If you were married to someone who calculated every dollar you spent, who never helped with the house or the baby, who said things that made you feel worthless, would you stay? I wouldn't. I'd be gone in a second. She said her piece, then went to her room, leaving him alone in the quiet kitchen. He sat there for a long time, the half-eaten pizza growing cold in front of him, and for the first time, he started to understand. He was so wrong. The next morning, when Chloe came downstairs, she found Michael sitting in the living room. He looked like he hadn't slept. Chloe, he said, his voice hoarse. I want to bring Alex and Lily home. Can you? Can you help me? She looked at him, a long, searching gaze. Are you sure? Because this can't be a temporary fix, Michael. If you change, you have to really change. Forever. He nodded, his eyes pleading. I know. I will. Time will prove it. Please, Chloe, just help me. She hesitated. I'm just afraid that old habits die hard. This isn't going to be easy. For the next week, my life was peaceful, but deep down, I was still sad. Everyone told me I'd made the right decision, that I deserved to be happy, but my heart ached. I still loved Michael. I wanted my daughter to have a father. I wanted her to have a whole, happy family. Why was that so hard? Then one afternoon, he just appeared, standing on my parents' doorstep, holding 2 large bags from a baby store and a giant can of the expensive European formula I liked. I was stunned. I came to see Lily, he said quietly. I sighed. Fine, but make it quick. He nodded. But he didn't make it quick. He stayed. He lingered in the background while I cooked dinner, his eyes following my every move. I finally snapped. What are you looking at? Why don't you just go home? Are you trying to haunt me? His face crumpled. Can I please just stay here? With you and Lily? He asked, his voice barely a whisper. I didn't know what to think. I kept telling him to leave, but he wouldn't go. And my mom, seeing the genuine remorse in his eyes, softened. She let him stay. I knew that despite her support for my decision, she secretly hoped we would reconcile. She wanted her granddaughter to have a complete family. At dinner, Michael ate like a man who hadn't seen food in a month. He shoveled it in so fast I thought he was going to choke. Slow down, Michael, my mom said gently. You'll make yourself sick. It's just so good, Mrs. Evans, he said, his mouth full. I haven't had a real meal in weeks. Alex is cooking. It's the best. I felt a reluctant warmth spread through my chest. My mom looked at him, surprised. Hasn't anyone been cooking for you? No, he mumbled. Chloe's never home, and since Alex left, she's only fed me instant noodles. I'm not used to eating out, so I've just been starving. I miss the food Alex cooks so much. My mom sighed. And yet, you didn't respect her when she was there. He was in such a hurry to eat, he started choking, his face turning red. He coughed, sputtered, and finally managed to get the food down. In a small, humbled voice, he said, I was wrong. I'm so sorry. If I could go back in time, I would never be that person again, I swear. And so it began. Every day, he would drive to his job, and every evening, he would drive the 50 miles to my parents' house to spend a few hours with me and Lily, then drive the 50 miles back home. Long after we'd gone to bed, he did this every single day for a month. Slowly, my heart started to thaw. That, plus the constant encouragement from Chloe and his parents, they truly wanted us to get back together. So, after more than a month of this grueling trial, I agreed. I would give him one more chance, but before I packed our bags, I looked him straight in the eye. I'm coming home, I said. But if you ever go back to being the man you were, if you ever disrespect me, or neglect me, or make me feel small again, I will walk out that door with our daughter, and I swear to you, Michael, you will never, ever see us again, and no one will be able to stop me. He nodded, his eyes wide with sincerity, and promised me the world. I prayed he meant it. When we got back, my mother-in-law was so happy she was crying. She kept trying to press cash into my hand, but I wouldn't take it. I agreed to accept $250 a month from her for groceries, since she and her husband were rarely home for dinner anyway. If she bought formula for Lily, I accepted. I knew she was terrified that I would leave again, and Michael, he started to change. He'd come home and immediately take Lily from me so I could cook in peace. He started helping with the laundry. He even learned how to feed her solid foods. But the money, he was still frugal, painfully so, but it was better than before. I figured I could work on that later. And the best news of all? He deleted all the video games from his computer. I'm done with that, he told me. I'm never playing again. A few days after we got back, I decided it was time to cure his stinginess once and for all. I made a long, detailed grocery list. Anything and everything I could think of. Then I handed it to him. Can you stop at the store on your way home from work? No more would I be the one to shop and then be accused of overspending. From now on, he would see the prices with his own 2 eyes. He wouldn't be able to accuse me of lying. He went to a big supermarket, taking the list I'd texted him. He filled the cart. Organic milk, diapers, baby food pouches, salmon, grass-fed ground beef, imported olive oil, spices. He just kept tossing things in, not paying attention to the cost. He filled the entire cart to overflowing. Then he got to the checkout. He told me later his jaw literally dropped when he saw the total. Over $600. He was so sure the cashier had made a mistake that he asked her to rescan everything. He stood there, looking at the receipt, his face a mask of disbelief. How can it be this expensive? He muttered to himself. He came home hauling a mountain of grocery bags, his face pale and grim. He looked at all the meat and fish on the counter. Alex, it's so much money. Are we going to eat all of this? I just smiled sweetly. Oh, honey, you know how I'm trying to watch my figure after the baby. Most of that is for you and your dad. He didn't say anything. He just quietly started putting everything away in the fridge and the pantry. The food was beautiful and fresh, but I could practically see the dollar signs flashing in his eyes. From that day on, he did the grocery shopping. And every time he came home, he had this dazed, shell-shocked look on his face. I had to bite my lip to keep from laughing. One day, I went with him. He pushed the cart while I picked things out. He was in a surprisingly good mood. "Get whatever you want, Alex," he said cheerfully. "Oh, let's get some of that good ribeye steak. I'm craving it." I put 5 packs in the cart. He added 5 more. "Let's stock up," he said with a huge grin. I thought it was strange, but I wasn't going to question a miracle. Then we got to the checkout line. I watched his face as he saw the cart piled high. The cheerful mask began to slip. The color drained from his cheeks. I knew that look. The panic was setting in. I quickly put my hand to my head. "Oh my God, I suddenly feel so dizzy. I think I need some air. Honey, I'll wait for you outside by the entrance, okay?" Yeah. "Are you okay? Is it the heat?" he asked, distracted by the mountain of food inching its way toward the cashier. "I think so. I'll just wait for you out there." I walked away quickly, saving myself from having to witness his agony as he handed over his credit card. But when he came out a few minutes later, pushing the cart, he was smiling, genuinely smiling. He was about 50% of the way there. He was no longer the selfish, calculating man I had married, and I truly believed, that I could fix the rest of him, that we would finally be happy, and we were, for a little while. Then, a woman named Victoria Vance entered our lives. She was the new CEO at Michael's company. I didn't know whether to call her Miss Vance or Victoria. She was 20 years older than me, 43, but she looked incredible. Stylish, sophisticated, dripping with a kind of confidence I'd only ever seen in movies. She had just moved back to the States to run the company after her husband, the former CEO, had died in a car accident. Before that, she and her kids had lived abroad. She'd only been in town a week, but she was already famous. She turned heads everywhere she went. She was sexy, and she knew it. She had a very European-style openness. She wasn't afraid of anything or anyone, and everyone agreed. While she was a woman, she was more one of the guys than most men. She was generous, charming, and always ready to buy a round of drinks, especially for the male employees. She had a special fondness for them, and for some reason, she took a special interest in Michael, the quiet, diligent project manager, who was completely devoted to his family. One afternoon, Victoria walked into Michael's open plan office. "All right, everyone," she announced. "Work's done for the day. Drinks are on me." Everyone cheered. Everyone except Michael. "You guys have fun. I've got to get home early." Victoria raised a perfectly sculpted eyebrow. "Oh, why the rush? One drink won't kill you." "My daughter has a bit of a fever," Michael said. "I need to go help my wife." The whole room burst out laughing. "Dude, it's one drink, not an all-night bender," Dave said. "Come on." "No, I can't. You guys go ahead." Victoria walked over to him, placing a hand on his shoulder, her long red nails gently kneading his muscle. "Come on, Michael. It's no fun without you." He stood firm. "Sorry. Maybe next time." She let her hand slide down his back, a slow, deliberate caress. Michael flinched as if he'd been burned, gently pushing her hand away as he stood up. "I have to go." He walked out, leaving Victoria staring after him, a frustrated pout on her lipsticked mouth. Sean, a notorious flirt in the office, sidled up to her. "Don't worry about him, boss. I'm here. I'll serve you all night long." Victoria looked Sean up and down, a dismissive smirk on her face. You look a little scrawny to be serving me anything, honey. You'd probably break. Sean flexed a non-existent bicep. Don't judge a book by its cover. You'd be surprised. She laughed, a throaty, amused sound. All right. Let's see what you've got. The next day, Michael arrived at work to find his colleagues buzzing. Man, you missed out last night, Dave said. Victoria is wild. She's 40-something, but she parties like she's 18. It was epic. Michael just smiled and shook his shoulders. Sounds like you guys had fun. I'm retired from that scene. From now on, you can count me out. What do you mean, retired? You're not dead yet. Live a little. Michael shook his head. I've got to be a good example for my daughter now. You guys don't have kids yet. You can be as wild as you want. As they were talking, Michael remembered. Hey, where's Sean? Everyone looked around. I haven't seen him all morning. Maybe he drank too much last night. No way, Dave said. He was totally fine when he drove Victoria home. The whole group went, oh, maybe he's still at her house. Someone snickered. Michael cut them off. Hey, it's his private life. Let's not gossip. Back to work. The group dispersed. It wasn't until noon that Sean finally shuffled in. He looked wrecked. Sean, you okay? You look sick, Michael asked. Sean just nodded weakly. Yeah, I'm just a little tired. Long night. From drinking? Sean leaned in close, his voice a haunted whisper. No, man. From forced labor. I swear, I'm scarred for life. Now I finally understand that saying. The older the violin, the sweeter the tune. It's terrifying. Michael was confused, but seeing the genuine exhaustion on Sean's face, he felt a flicker of concern. You went home with a girl last night, didn't you? Worse. I went home with Victoria. And this, he said, gesturing to his haggard appearance, is the result. You can have her, man. I'm tapping out. She broke me. Michael was about to laugh, but the look of pure terror in Sean's eyes was real. He couldn't help but feel a little relieved he'd gone home to his wife. Victoria, however, was not pleased with Sean's performance. She spent the morning sighing dramatically in her office. Bored, she wandered out onto the main floor and saw Michael and a few other guys, shirts off in the summer heat, loading boxes into a storage unit. Among them, Michael, even with a wife and kid, was in the best shape. Lean, muscular. Victoria liked what she saw. She sauntered over. Working hard, boys. When you're done, let's go across the street for a cold beer. My treat. Everyone cheered. Victoria was the best boss, but her eyes never left Michael. After they finished, everyone headed for the bar. Michael was about to go back to the office, but Victoria stopped him. Michael, wait. Everyone's waiting for you. I don't really drink beer, Miss Vance. Then have a soda. Just come hang out with us. It's good for team morale. She pouted again. If you don't come, I'll be very disappointed. He sighed. Trapped. He went. At the bar, Victoria stared at Michael so intensely it made him uncomfortable. He put his jacket on and turned his chair slightly to avoid her gaze. He thought to himself, what is her deal? Victoria, however, was delighted. A man who was handsome and shy. Perfect. After a while, she stood up to pay the bill. As she walked past Michael, she suddenly stumbled, pretending to trip, and fell right into his lap. Oh my gosh, she gasped. Miss Vance, are you okay? He asked, trying to help her up. Her hands landed squarely on his chest, feeling the hard muscle underneath his shirt. She smiled to herself. Miss Vance? She blinked, as if waking from a dream. Oh, I'm fine. Thank goodness you were here to catch me, Michael. No problem. But then, she just stayed there, sitting in his lap. He shifted uncomfortably. He cleared his throat. She didn't move. He finally gave her a gentle push, but he used a little too much force. She stumbled forward, and his colleagues had to catch her to keep her from falling flat on her face. "Ma'am, are you all right?" Dave asked, concerned. She straightened up, smoothing her dress down. If it had been anyone else, she would have fired them on the spot, but because it was Michael, she just laughed it off. "Oh, I'm fine. It was my fault. Clumsy me." Michael was mortified. "I'm so sorry, Miss Vance. I didn't mean to push so hard." "Don't worry about it," she said with a wink. She felt a little embarrassed, so she announced she was heading back to the office. The moment she was gone, Dave turned to Michael. "Dude, what the hell? You were so rough with her. You almost sent her flying." Michael ran a hand through his hair, exasperated. "I told her to get up like 3 times. She just wouldn't move. She's not exactly a feather, you know." The guys all laughed, stunned at Michael's attitude. Anyone else would be kissing up to the boss, and here he was, literally pushing her away. Back in her office, Victoria fumed. A man who was indifferent to her. It was infuriating and intriguing. He didn't seem interested, which meant she had to make him interested. She resolved, right then and there, that she would have him. A few days later, despite all of Victoria's obvious hints, Michael remained completely oblivious. Or maybe he was just ignoring her. This fueled her determination. She invented a project that required him to stay late, working overtime for 2 hours. This was her chance. At 6 p.m., everyone else had gone home. Michael was focused on his work when Victoria entered his office. She had pulled the neckline of her dress down, revealing an ample amount of cleavage. She walked up behind him, pressing herself against his back. "Almost done, Michael," she purred. "Almost, Miss Vance. Why are you still here so late?" "Oh, just finishing up some work. Listen, when you're done, let's go get some dinner. I'm starving." He shook his head without turning around. "No, thank you. I'm going to go home and eat with my wife and daughter." "Come on," she whispered, her breath warm on his neck. "You need to live a little. Don't you ever get tired of eating at home?" "No, I love it. It's safe, it's healthy. You never know what you're getting in restaurants." She knew she was losing, but she pressed on, wrapping her arms around him from behind. "Michael, I'm so lonely." He finally stiffened, pulling her hands off him and turning around. As he did, she lunged forward, pressing his face into her chest, wrapping her arms around him in a tight embrace. He was suffocating. He pushed her away, hard. "Get off of me. I can't breathe." "Just come with me, Michael," she pleaded. He stood up and walked towards the door. She grabbed his arm. He shook her off without a word and walked out, leaving her standing there, fuming, kicking a trash can in frustration. "Michael, get back here." She knew he didn't want her, but that just made her want him more. To her, this was a game, and she never lost. She went home to her huge empty house. Her 2 children were away at boarding school. Her husband was gone. She had no real friends. She was utterly alone. The loneliness was a physical ache. She opened her phone and scrolled through the list of male employees at her company. Sean was too weak. Calling Michael was pointless. She sighed, and her finger landed on a new name. A young guy from Michael's department. A little chubby, but tall. He would have to do. She dialed the number. "Nathan, it's Victoria. I need you to come over. I have something for you." Meanwhile, at our house, life had become surprisingly normal. Michael was so good now. It was almost unbelievable. He came home right after work, showered, and then he and Lily would play on the floor for hours while I made dinner. Even Chloe was coming home earlier, helping me in the kitchen. For the first time, I felt a sense of peace. I knew that tomorrow was never guaranteed, but for now, for today, I was happy. Isn't that all any of us can ask for? The next day, Michael went to work and noticed that Nathan wasn't there. He called his phone. "Hello? Nathan? You're not coming in today." "I quit, man." Nathan's voice was shaky. "Good luck. You're gonna need it." He hung up. Michael was baffled. Why would he just quit like that? He asked around the office, but no one knew anything. He tried calling Nathan again that evening, but it went straight to voicemail. Michael and Nathan were good friends. It didn't make sense. He decided to stop by Nathan's house on his way home from work. He found Nathan lying on his couch with an IV drip in his arm. "Dude, are you sick? What happened?" Nathan just shook his head, a haunted look in his eyes. "I'm just tired." "What's up?" "I just came to see you." "Why'd you quit, man? Did something happen?" Nathan looked away, embarrassed. He didn't want to talk about what had happened at Victoria's house the night before. So Michael left, still confused, having no idea that he had dodged a bullet that had hit Nathan instead. And Nathan was so terrified by the experience, he'd quit his job rather than ever face Victoria again. Victoria, having failed to corner her prey at the office, decided to invade his habitat. She would come to our home. It was a Sunday, one of those rare, perfect days off. Chloe had taken Lily next door to play with the neighbors' kids. The house was quiet. Michael and I were upstairs, wrapped up in each other on the bed, enjoying a lazy afternoon nap, the kind of simple intimacy we hadn't shared in over a year. And then the doorbell rang. Not a polite, single chime, but a series of insistent, rapid-fire presses. Michael groaned, pulling a pillow over his head. "Who on earth is that?" "Go see," I mumbled, pushing him. "It's probably just the delivery guy." He stumbled out of the room and down the stairs. I heard the front door creak open. I heard his voice, suddenly tight and surprised. "Miss Vance?" My eyes snapped open. I sat bolt upright in bed. "Victoria?" "Here." I heard her voice, smooth as silk and just as slippery. "Michael, I was just in the area and thought I'd drop by. Here, help me with these, will you? They're heavy." I crept to the top of the stairs and peered down, and I saw her, standing in our doorway like a poisonous, beautiful flower, wearing a white sundress that probably cost more than our monthly grocery budget. And Michael was carrying in bags, shopping bags from high-end department stores. What is all this?" he asked, his voice strained. "Oh, just a few little things," she said, breezing past him into our living room, taking it all in. "What a lovely home you have, Michael. So clean and cozy." And I heard him, my husband, say with a pride that made my heart ache, "That's all Alex. She's the one who makes this place a home." Victoria's smile tightened for a fraction of a second. "I'm sure she does," she said, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "She sounds like a very domestic woman." That's when I knew I had to go down there. This wasn't a social call. This was an invasion. I quickly threw on a pair of jeans and a t-shirt and went downstairs. She turned as I entered the room, her eyes sweeping over me, taking in my simple clothes, my bare face, my hair still messy from our nap. It was a clear, silent judgment. "Ah, you must be Alexandra," she said, her smile not reaching her eyes. "I'm Victoria Vance. I've heard so much about you." "Hello," I said, my voice steady. "You've just arrived?" "Yes. I brought a few gifts for the baby. And for you too, of course. Just a little something to show my appreciation for Michael's hard work." She gestured to the pile of bags on the floor. I looked at the labels. Designer baby clothes, expensive toys, That's very generous of you, I said, forcing a polite smile. But you really didn't have to. Nonsense, she laughed, a sound that was too loud for our quiet house. It's nothing really, barely a couple $1,000s. Money is no object to me, you know, the way she said it. A casual boast, meant to make me feel small, to establish her power. I felt a surge of defiance. Well, I said, walking over to the bags. Lily really has everything she needs. We're not lacking for anything, but thank you for the thought. I picked up a large fancy can of formula. Oh, and this Japanese formula? It's very kind of you, but they sell it everywhere around here. They practically give it away at the local Costco. Her smile faltered. I had just taken her weapon, her wealth, and rendered it useless. She thought she could buy her way in, impress and intimidate me, but she had misjudged me. Michael, seeing the tension, quickly pulled out his phone. He sent a text. I knew who it was for. He was calling for backup. He was calling Chloe. He looked at me, a silent plea in his eyes. Help me. He turned to Victoria. Why don't I call my sister to bring Lily home? I'm sure she'd love to see her Aunt Chloe. A few minutes later, Chloe walked in, holding Lily. The moment she saw Victoria sitting on our couch, her face hardened. She immediately handed Lily to me and pulled Michael outside onto the porch. What is she doing here? Chloe hissed, her voice low but furious. And what's with all the crap she brought? Michael ran a hand through his hair, looking stressed. I don't know. I was asleep. She just showed up. It's so awkward, Chloe. Awkward? Michael, she's not here to be friends. The woman's husband just died, and now she's sniffing around someone else's. She's on the hunt, and you're the prey. You need to get her out of here. I know, but she's my boss. What am I supposed to do? I'm warning you, Michael, Chloe said. Her eyes narrowed. If you mess this up, if you give her even an inch, Alex and I will destroy you. You hear me? He looked at his sister, at the fierce loyalty in her eyes. It was a look he used to take for granted. I'm not an idiot, Chloe. I'm not interested. You know that. I'm just reminding you, she said, softening slightly. Be careful. Don't fall into her trap. You could lose everything you just fought to get back. They came back inside, and the atmosphere was thick with unspoken tension. And Victoria, she just would not leave. She sat there for 3 hours. 3 hours. She cooed over Lily, asked Michael endless questions about work, and generally made herself a permanent fixture on our sofa. Eventually, it got so late and so awkward that I had no choice. Victoria, would you like to stay for dinner? I asked, the words tasting like poison in my mouth. Oh, I couldn't possibly impose, she said, before immediately adding, but yes, I'd love to. I'm starving. Chloe shot me a look that said, are you crazy? But she went into the kitchen to help me cook. At the dinner table, I made sure Michael sat between me and Chloe, with Victoria directly across from him. Chloe had made her famous roast chicken. Victoria picked at her food, then smiled sweetly at Michael. You must eat up, Michael, she said, placing a large piece of chicken on his plate. You need your strength. The company has a lot of big projects coming up. You're the man of the house, working so hard to provide. Chloe immediately put down her fork. He doesn't have to worry about that, Victoria. He has a wife who takes care of him. Just then, Lily started to cry in her high chair. I stood up to get her, but Michael stopped me. You eat, Alex. I've got her. As he stood up, Victoria reached out and grabbed his arm. No. Sit down and eat, Michael. Taking care of children is a woman's job. You're the one who works hard all day. You deserve to rest. I didn't say a word. I just went and picked up my daughter, rocking her gently, but inside, I was seething. The nerve of this woman to come into my home and preach her outdated, insulting views. But Chloe was not going to let it slide. She slammed her hand down on the table, making the silverware jump. "Excuse me?" she said, her voice dangerously calm. "So, if you make money, you don't have to do anything else to help your family? Is that what you're saying? What kind of ridiculous logic is that?" Victoria looked taken aback, but she held her ground. "It's not ridiculous. It's reality. Michael works hard to support his family. His wife stays home. She should be taking care of the house and the children. It's a simple division of labor." Michael tried to intervene. "Okay, you two, let's just eat." But Chloe was on a roll. She laughed. A short, harsh sound. A division of labor. "When my brother was sick, Alex took care of him. When my parents are busy, Alex runs this entire house. A husband and wife are supposed to be partners. They share the load. That's what a family is. I feel sorry for your late husband, if this is how you see the world." Victoria's face flushed with anger. "You're young. You don't understand." "Oh, I understand perfectly," Chloe shot back. "I understand that a man who works and then comes home and helps his wife is a real partner. A man who thinks his paycheck absolves him of all other responsibilities is just a walking ATM. And my brother is not an ATM." I held Lily a little tighter, my heart swelling with gratitude. Thank God for Chloe. If she hadn't been there, I would have just sat in silence, letting Victoria's poisonous words hang in the air. Victoria, realizing she had lost the battle, fell silent and ate her meal. Michael finished quickly and came to take Lily from me. "Go eat, Alex. I'll take her." I sat back down at the table. Chloe was staring daggers at Victoria. After dinner, Victoria didn't leave. Instead, she went and sat with Michael in the living room. Chloe and I cleared the table, her muttering under her breath the entire time. "Can you believe the nerve of that woman? Showing up here, acting like she owns the place. And her clothes? God, she's old enough to be our mother. And she's dressed like she's going to a nightclub." "Chloe, calm down," I sighed. "She's Michael's boss. If we're too aggressive, it could affect his job. I'm pretty sure she's got more on her mind than his job performance, Alex. Don't be naive. That woman is trying to steal your husband." I knew she was right. I felt it in my gut. When we finished the dishes and went into the living room, what we saw made my blood run cold. Victoria was lying stretched out on our sofa, lying down, in her short dress, which had ridden up her thighs, her legs carelessly splayed open. It was a deliberate, provocative pose. Michael was sitting on the other side of the room, holding Lily, looking deeply uncomfortable. Chloe, never one for subtlety, marched right into the middle of the room. "Excuse me," she said loudly. "Can you please sit up? There are men in this house." "What are you trying to do? Put on a free show?" Victoria didn't move. She just smiled lazily. "Oh, my back is a little sore. I'm just resting for a minute." "Why are you so hostile, Chloe?" "My back is sore, so I'll just spread my legs for everyone in the living room." Chloe mimicked in a high-pitched voice. "If your back hurts, you can go lie down in the guest room, where there's a door. This is a family living room. Have some dignity." Victoria finally sat up, annoyed. "What's the big deal? In Europe, people are much more relaxed about these things." "You're so old-fashioned," Chloe burst out laughing. "Old-fashioned? Honey, this isn't Europe. This is my brother's house, and in this house, we don't behave like that. You're over 40 years old, not a teenager at a frat party. Act your age, or people might get the wrong idea about you." The insult landed. Victoria's face turned crimson. She stood up abruptly. "Michael, I'm leaving." "Okay, drive safe," Michael said, his relief palpable. As she walked past us, her face was a mask of fury. Chloe just smirked at her. "Michael, I'll see you tomorrow at work," Victoria called out from the doorway. A final, desperate attempt to claim him. "My brother's not deaf," Chloe yelled back. "You don't have to shout. Have a nice life." Victoria slammed the door behind her. The moment she was gone, Chloe whirled on Michael. "What is wrong with you? How could you let a woman like that into our house? You need to quit that job. Find another one." "Chloe, it's not that easy," he started. "I'm used to it, and..." "Or maybe you like the attention," she accused. Maybe that's why she felt comfortable enough to come all the way out here and try to stake her claim on you. "I swear, Michael, if it wasn't for you, I would have thrown her out on her ass the second she walked in." Seeing them about to have a full-blown fight, I stepped in. "That's enough, both of you. Chloe, please. Don't make things more complicated than they already are." Chloe, frustrated, stormed up to her room. Michael turned to me, his hands clasped together. "Alex, you believe me, don't you?" "Yes, Michael, I believe you." I said it, but a new cold knot of dread was forming in my stomach. "But please, don't blame Chloe. She's just a little protective." He nodded. "I know. She's just trying to look out for us." Later that night, Victoria sat in her dark, empty house, drinking wine. The humiliation burned in her chest, being so openly disrespected by that little girl. That Chloe. She couldn't stand it. Should she give up on Michael? No. The harder the conquest, the sweeter the victory. She wanted to feel his arms around her. She wanted him to be hers. But he was so hard to get close to. What was she going to do? The wine was making her bold. She picked up her phone. She scrolled to his name and pressed call. At that exact moment, I was using Michael's phone to look up a recipe. The screen lit up with her name, Victoria Vance. My heart hammered against my ribs. I answered, "Hello." There was a pause, then Victoria's voice, thick and slurred with alcohol. "Michael, I like you. Michael, I like you a lot." I stood there, frozen. This was it, the confirmation. When people are drunk, they tell the truth. My intuition had been right all along. She was actively pursuing my husband. I fought to keep my voice calm. "He's asleep. If you have a message, I can give it to him in the morning." I was about to hang up when she spoke again, her voice suddenly sharp. "Is this Alexandra? You heard everything, didn't you?" "Yes, good," she said, her tone turning cold and businesslike. "Then let's be direct. I like your husband, a lot. I want to make you a deal." "A deal?" What was she talking about? What kind of deal? Her next words hit me like a physical blow. "I'll give you a substantial amount of money, enough to start a business, buy a house, whatever you want, on one condition." "What condition?" I whispered, though I already knew the answer. "You divorce him." The audacity of it, the sheer, shameless arrogance. She was trying to buy my husband. I was so furious, I wanted to scream, but everyone was asleep. I took a deep breath. "Fine," I said, my voice dripping with ice. "We can discuss this in person. Tomorrow afternoon, 4 o'clock. I'll text you the address." I hung up, my hand shaking. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing. I'd seen stories like this on TV, read them in books, but I never thought it would happen to me. And usually, the other woman is sneaky, secretive. Victoria was waging an open war. She was using her money as a weapon, assuming that a poor, stay-at-home mom like me would be easily bought. But she was wrong. I may not have money, but I would never sell my family. He was not a piece of property. I looked over at Michael, sleeping peacefully beside me. We had fought so hard to get back to this place. And now this. I didn't sleep a wink that night. The next day, I didn't tell anyone where I was going. I got dressed up. I did my hair and makeup. I looked at myself in the mirror. I looked plain, homely. She was glamorous and rich. I was a stay-at-home mom. For a second, a wave of insecurity washed over me, but I pushed it down. I had to be strong. I met her at a quiet cafe. I got there early. She arrived half an hour late. A deliberate power move. "Alexandra," she said, sitting down without an apology. We ordered drinks, then got straight to it. "So you really want my husband that badly?" I asked. "Yes," she said simply. "I do. Can you step aside? I'll give you $1 million. I pushed the check. She slid across the table back to her and laughed. "My husband is priceless, Victoria. You can't afford him. I know I'm not rich, but my husband and my daughter are more important to me than any amount of money. So please, drop this pathetic fantasy." Her smile vanished. "Fine, have it your way. But think about it, Alexandra. What kind of future can you really give him? As a mid-level manager, he'll spend his entire life just getting by. He'll never have a real career, real success. He'll never be truly great." "Shut up. Am I wrong?" she pressed, leaning forward. "If he comes to me, I'll make him the president of the entire company. I'll be his support, his partner. He'll have everything: power, wealth, prestige. Now, you compare. Is he better off with me or with you?" "You're insane," I hissed, my control finally snapping. "Maybe I am," she shrugged, "but it's a madness for love." I picked up my glass of ice water and threw it directly in her face. She gasped, shocked, water dripping from her perfect hair. I stood up, leaning over the table, my eyes blazing. "I'm warning you. Stay away from my husband. Stay away from my family. If you don't, next time it won't be water. It will be acid." As I walked away, her words echoed in my head. "What kind of future can you give him?" She was right. With me, he would always be ordinary. I got in my car, and the tears I'd been holding back finally fell. When I got home, I was a wreck. Chloe found me in my room, staring into space. "Where have you been? And why do you look like you've seen a ghost?" I couldn't hold it in anymore. I told her everything. About the phone call, the meeting, the offer, the things Victoria had said. "She's right, Chloe," I sobbed. "I'm useless. I'm just a housewife. I can't give him anything." Chloe exploded. "Don't you dare say that. Being a mother, a homemaker, that's the most important job in the world. And don't you ever use the word useless again. Did Michael say something to you? Because if he did, I'll handle him." "No, it wasn't him. It's just, with her, he could have everything. A career, a future." "A man's career is something he builds himself," Chloe said fiercely. "If it's handed to him by a rich sugar mama, no one will ever respect him. Our job is to be their rock, their support system. That's it. If Michael wants to be successful, he has to earn it. And you gave him a daughter. You gave him a family. That's more than Victoria could ever offer." She kept talking, her words a soothing balm on my wounded spirit. And she was right. "But," I hesitated, my voice small. "What if I divorce him, so he can have that life? Maybe I should let him go." Chloe grabbed my shoulders. "I forbid it. And even if you did, Michael wouldn't go to her. Don't you get it? Money can't buy everything, Alex. There are things it can't touch. So get that thought out of your head right now." "So what do we do?" I whispered. Chloe's eyes narrowed. "I have a plan. You just sit tight and take care of Lily. I'll handle this." "Chloe, no. Don't get involved. It will affect Michael's job." It could cause a rift between you two. I know, she said, her voice grim. But if Michael hates me because I stood up to that woman, then we need to reevaluate who he really is, don't we? I need this to be clear. I can't let this go on. From that day on, Chloe started paying close attention to Michael. She'd make excuses to drop by his office around lunchtime, borrowing $20 for a smoothie or 50 cents for the vending machine. It was just a pretense. Her real mission was to see if Victoria was still circling her brother like a shark. One day, she walked up to his office door and heard Victoria's voice inside. The other employees were at lunch. It was just the two of them. Michael, Victoria was saying, her voice soft and persuasive. Isn't it tiring, being the only one providing for your whole family? I'm not tired. Michael's voice was firm. I'm taking care of my family. They're the most important thing to me. But what if I could give you a chance to have it all? What would you say? What kind of chance? The chance to be the president of this company. A beautiful house, a luxury car, and a lot of money. Would you like that, Michael? Why are you asking me this? Because, she whispered, and Chloe peeked through the crack in the door to see Victoria placing her hands on Michael's shoulders. Only you can have this opportunity. Because That's when Chloe burst into the room. Victoria jumped back, startled. Chloe, when did you get here? Just now, Chloe said with a fake, bright smile. It's lunchtime. Shouldn't you be in your own office instead of bothering my brother? People might start to gossip. Victoria's face darkened. Michael looked mortified. Chloe, what are you talking about? Oh, nothing, she said, her eyes fixed on Victoria. Just that there are already some nasty rumors going around about you two. You wouldn't want to go too far and not be able to turn back, would you, Michael? Do you not trust your own brother? He snapped, his voice rising. I already told you, I'm not that kind of person. In this world, you can't trust anyone, Chloe retorted coolly. Not even your own flesh and blood. So, I'm just hoping you're smart enough to think things through. Michael shoved her towards the door. All right, I get it. Now go home. I'll go, she said. But first, I need to have a little chat with Miss Vance. Alone. You can wait outside. Michael looked at Victoria, who, surprisingly, just nodded. It's fine. Let him go. We can talk. The moment Michael was out the door, Victoria's friendly mask dropped and she smiled. So, Chloe, what can I do for you? Do you want to go shopping? Whatever you like, I'll buy it for you. Chloe just smirked. No, thank you. Victoria continued her sweet offensive. I heard your birthday is next month, isn't it? Unfortunately, I'll be in the U.S. visiting my children then. My birthday has nothing to do with you. Victoria opened her purse and pulled out a thick stack of $100 bills. I don't know what you like, so why don't you just take this and buy yourself something nice? It's just a small token from me. Chloe looked at the money. How much is that? Oh, I don't know exactly. 7,000 or 8,000, maybe. Don't worry about it. To me, this is nothing. If you like, I can give you much more. You're trying to bribe me, Chloe stated flatly. Why? Victoria, thinking Chloe was hooked, leaned back in her chair, confident. I thought this girl would be tough, she mused to herself, but she's just as greedy as the rest. Seeing the smug look on her face, Chloe pressed. What are you thinking about? I asked you a question. Why are you giving me this money? What do you want from me? Thinking Chloe was already in her pocket, Victoria laid her cards on the table. It's simple, really. I like your brother. If you can help me find a way for him and Alexandra to get a divorce, you'll be very successful. I'll give you a lot of money, and when your brother marries me, it will be very good for his career. I'll make him president of this company, buy him a car, With me, your brother will have everything. Do you understand? Chloe, having already heard the story from me, wasn't surprised. She just played along, a slow, wicked smile spreading across her face. You think this amount of money can buy me? Is it too little? Victoria asked, reaching for her purse again. Name your price. Chloe laughed, a sound that was sharp and dangerous. Unfortunately for you, I'm not interested in money. Then what are you interested in? Tell me. I'll give you anything. Chloe's face turned serious. You like my brother that much? He has a wife and a child. Victoria shrugged, completely shameless. Your brother is special. He's a challenge. And I like a challenge. The harder something is to get, the more I want it. And I always get what I want. So, do we have a deal? Chloe beckoned her closer. Come here. I'll whisper it to you. Victoria, triumphant, leaned in close. I'm here. Tell me. Chloe leaned in, her lips almost touching Victoria's ear, and whispered, her voice dripping with contempt. Who the hell do you think you are? Stop dreaming, you old hag. Victoria's face contorted with rage. How? How dare you speak to me like that? Chloe took the stack of money and threw it directly in Victoria's face, the bills scattering across the floor. There are some things that money can't buy, you pathetic woman, Chloe said, her voice like ice. And this is one of them. Stop your delusional fantasies before you get hurt. And don't say I didn't warn you. Are you threatening me, you little brat? Victoria shrieked. What are you going to do about it? You want to hit me? Go on. Try it. Hit me. Michael, hearing the shouting from outside, burst back into the room. Chloe, what's going on? She tried to bribe me, Chloe announced, pointing a finger at Victoria. And when I refused, she turned nasty and tried to attack me. Now do you see her true colors? Michael's face hardened as he turned to Victoria. I can't believe you. I've made myself clear, and you still try to bribe my sister. Do I have to spell it out for you before you'll understand? Victoria stammered. No, Michael, you've misunderstood. She's framing me. Chloe pulled out her phone. Oh, really? I knew you'd deny it. That's why I recorded the entire conversation. Want to listen? Michael's blood boiled. He didn't need to hear it. He knew. That's enough, Chloe. Go home. I'll handle this. He looked at his sister, his voice softening. I'll be home soon. Chloe nodded. Fine. I'm leaving. But you better come home soon. Alex and Lily are waiting for you. After Chloe left, Michael faced Victoria, his voice cold and final. I know you think you're helping me, but you're not. The only thing I need is my wife and my daughter, my family. I would never trade them for anything. Find someone else. And by the way, I quit. I hope you understand. Victoria panicked. No, Michael, don't quit. Please, I'm begging you. He shook his head. My decision is made. She broke down, sobbing, grabbing his arm. Don't. I won't accept it. Tell me what to do. I'll do anything. Just please, don't quit. He tried to pull his arm away, but she lunged, falling to the floor and wrapping her arms around his legs, weeping hysterically. Just then, Dave and the other guys from the office walked in, returning from lunch. They stopped dead in their tracks, their mouths hanging open at the sight. Their glamorous CEO on the floor, clinging to Michael's leg like a child, while Michael stood there, looking completely trapped and horrified. What's going on? Dave asked, breaking the stunned silence. Victoria just kept sobbing. Michael didn't know what to say. Everyone was staring at him, as if he were the villain. Miss Vance, please get up, he pleaded, trying to pry her off. Everyone is looking. Promise you won't quit, she wailed. Promise me, and I'll get up. Why are you so stubborn? He groaned. Fine, just get up, please. She looked up at him, her face tear-streaked. You promise? Just get up and we'll talk about it later. People will think I'm bullying you. That seemed to work. She let go, stood up, wiped her eyes, and even managed a small, triumphant smile. You said it, Michael. Don't go back on your word. She turned to the gaping crowd. All right, everyone, back to work. Then she swept back to her office, leaving them all staring at Michael, completely bewildered. For the next week, Victoria kept her distance. She was afraid if she pushed him any further, he really would quit. Michael, seeing the change, felt a sense of relief and put the thought of quitting on the back burner. He had no idea she was already plotting her next move. That night at dinner, Chloe grilled him. So, did you quit yet? Michael hesitated. Not yet. I have a big project I need to finish first. Once that's done, I'll hand in my notice. Chloe just glared at him. You better. There are plenty of other companies out there. I cut in before a fight could start. All right, you two. Just eat. The food's getting cold. After dinner, Chloe pulled me aside. Alex, there's something strange about him. Do you feel it? I shook my head. No, Chloe. Don't be so suspicious. He's under enough pressure at work. He doesn't need it at home, too. But that woman is a snake, she insisted. She won't give up that easily. I'm telling you, she's planning something. Let it go, Chloe, I sighed. If Michael is the kind of man who can be swayed, then there's nothing we can do to stop him anyway. All we can do is trust him. Chloe wasn't convinced, and as it turned out, her instincts were dead on. Victoria began her new campaign. She started posting on her company's internal social media, which Michael was connected to. She posted about her immense wealth, her loneliness, her desire to find a partner to share it all with, someone to help her manage her empire, because she was just so tired of the corporate world. It was a blatant advertisement. Immediately, dozens of male employees started commenting, volunteering for the position, but she ignored them all. The bait was only for one fish. That month, we had some major repairs done on the house, and it was expensive. Michael's entire paycheck, all $3,000 of it, was gone the day he got it, paid directly to the contractors. He looked at his empty wallet with a flicker of despair. Then, at dinner, his father mentioned that the front gate needed to be replaced next month. Another big expense. Michael fell silent. And in that silence, Victoria's words, her offer, began to echo in his mind. President of the company, a beautiful house, a luxury car, millions of dollars. He had never even dreamed of that kind of money. And here it was, being offered to him on a silver platter. To refuse it, it felt foolish. He looked at his life, the constant bills, the struggle, and he felt tired. Just then, his friend called, asking him to go out for a beer. He jumped at the chance to escape. He and his friend drank until 11 o'clock. When Michael stood up to leave, he was swaying. Whoa, you're a drunk man, his friend said. Can you get home okay? I can give you a ride. Michael waved him off, his speech slurred. I'm fine, totally fine. You go. I'm not even buzzed. He got on his motorcycle and started weaving down the road. His phone vibrated in his pocket. He pulled over and answered it without looking. Hello? Michael? It's Victoria. I'm so lonely. Can you come see me? You again? He grumbled. I told you. Please, Michael, don't hang up. Her voice was soft, pleading. I know you're angry with me, but I've done a lot of thinking. I'm not going to be like that anymore. I'm leaving for the U.S. tomorrow, and I don't know when I'll be back. I wanted to see you one last time. As friends. He hesitated. She was leaving for good. Where are you? At my house. Just for a little while, Michael. Please. He sighed, the alcohol making him reckless. Okay, fine. I'm on my way. He arrived at her house close to midnight. He pulled out his phone and saw a dozen missed calls from me and Chloe. As he was about to call back, Victoria opened the door. She was wearing a sheer, black negligee that left nothing to the imagination. Her eyes were heavy-lidded, her smile seductive. Michael, you came. I've been waiting for you. He was so shocked by her state of dress that he looked away, and in his drunken clumsiness, he dropped his phone, the screen shattering on the pavement. Why are you dressed like that? He stammered. Go put some clothes on. She just laughed and pulled him inside, sitting him down on the couch. Let's have one last drink together, as friends. She poured 2 glasses of whiskey. To your success and happiness, Michael. And to yours, he mumbled, downing the drink in one gulp. It was strong, much stronger than he was used to. She poured him another. He drank it. His head started to spin. The beer, the whiskey. It was all hitting him at once. I have to use the bathroom, he slurred, stumbling to his feet. The moment he was out of the room, his broken phone on the table buzzed. Chloe's name lit up the shattered screen. Victoria snatched it, turned it off completely, walked to the window, and threw it into the bushes outside. He's here now, she whispered to herself. He's not going home. Michael stumbled out of the bathroom. Victoria immediately wrapped her arms around him, pressing her lips to his. He was too drunk to resist, too drunk to even fully comprehend what was happening. He could feel her soft body against his, smell her perfume, but his brain couldn't connect the dots. He didn't even know who it was, and he certainly couldn't push her away. Seeing his passive state, Victoria's eyes lit up with triumph. She dragged him toward the bedroom. It was 11 o'clock at night, and I couldn't reach him. My calls went straight to voicemail. I was starting to panic. I went downstairs and knocked on Chloe's door. Chloe, are you awake? Michael's not home yet. She came out, her face etched with worry. I can't reach him either. That idiot. Where could he be? She paced back and forth. I'm going to call his friends. She called his friend, who confirmed that Michael had left, very drunk, over an hour ago. That's when the same thought hit both of us. Victoria, that bastard, Chloe hissed. She couldn't sit still. She grabbed her keys. Chloe, where are you going? It's late. She lied to keep me from worrying more. I'm going to his friend Chris's house. I bet they're still drinking there. You stay here with Lily. I'll go get him. Okay. Be careful. But she didn't go to Chris's house. She drove straight to Victoria's. Meanwhile, in Victoria's bedroom, things were not going as planned. She was frustrated, kicking at Michael's inert form on the bed. Useless. Absolutely useless. You look so big and strong, but you're all for show. Michael was passed out cold, drooling on her expensive silk pillows, completely unresponsive. No matter what she did, he wouldn't wake up. He was a notorious lightweight. A few strong drinks, and he was gone for the night. Victoria was furious. She had set the stage perfectly, and her leading man had fallen asleep before the first act. Outside, Chloe saw Michael's motorcycle parked in the driveway. A murderous rage filled her. That son of a bitch. They're both dead. The front door was locked. Without a second thought, she found a low section of the garden wall, scaled it, and dropped silently into the backyard. She crept to the glass patio doors, peering inside. She heard a strange sound, crying. Why is someone crying? She thought. Did she hurt him? That was it. No more stealth. She ran to the front door and started banging on it with both fists, screaming at the top of her lungs. Open up. Police. Open the door. I know you're in there. Inside, Victoria heard the pounding in Chloe's voice. She panicked. She grabbed a towel, wrapped it around her nearly naked body, and scurried into the master bathroom, locking the door behind her. The pounding grew more violent. With a final, furious kick, the door burst open. Chloe stormed in. She saw her brother, passed out on the bed. She ran over and shook him. Michael, Michael. He didn't move. She slapped him across the face, hard. You bastard. You're dead when you wake up. She looked around the room. Her eyes narrowed. Victoria, where are you? You think you can hide from me? She heard a faint noise from the bathroom. She walked over, flipped on the light, and pounded on the door. Get out here, now. The door opened a crack, and Victoria peeked out, trembling. Chloe? Chloe grabbed the door and threw it open. You have 5 minutes to explain yourself. Start talking. Victoria tried to smile, to smooth things over. Chloe, it's not what you think. Your brother and I were just discussing a work matter. Chloe laughed, a cold, terrifying sound. Discussing work. Naked. What kind of work requires you to be naked, Victoria? It was an important project. A project on the bed? Chloe's voice was a low snarl. You goddamn liar. Victoria's fear turned to anger. Watch your tone with me. Who do you think you are, calling me a liar? That was the wrong thing to say. Chloe lunged, grabbing a fistful of Victoria's hair. You old witch. You dare to seduce my brother. I warned you. I told you to stay away. Let go of me. Victoria shrieked, trying to pry Chloe's fingers from her hair. I didn't do anything with him. You didn't do anything? Then why are you both naked in the bedroom? Chloe dragged her, screaming, into the bathroom. You're dead tonight, you bitch. Victoria struggled, but Chloe was fueled by adrenaline and rage. She shoved Victoria's head down toward the toilet bowl. Seduce my brother, will you? Seduce this. She kicked Victoria's legs out from under her, jamming her head into the bowl and flushing. Victoria sputtered and choked, water filling her mouth and nose. Chloe held her there, then pulled her up, gasping for air. She grabbed the toilet brush. You're so dirty, Chloe hissed. Let me clean you up. She opened a bottle of toilet bowl cleaner and poured the blue liquid all over Victoria's head, then started scrubbing her hair and face with the brush. Let's see you try to seduce anyone after this. Victoria screamed for help, but it was useless. The house was soundproofed. Michael was dead to the world. Chloe took the brush and started beating her with it, hitting her on the back and legs, over and over. Scream louder. No one can hear you. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Victoria collapsed on the floor, sobbing and begging for mercy. Only then did Chloe stop. She filled a bucket with cold water from the tub, walked back into the bedroom, and dumped it all over Michael's head. He sputtered awake with a massive gasp, coughing up water. What the? Am I at the beach? Chloe's face, contorted with rage, loomed over him. Open your eyes and look where you are, you son of a bitch. He looked around, confused, at the unfamiliar bedroom, at his state of undress. And then he remembered. Oh God. Oh no. Get dressed and get out of here, Chloe ordered. Or do you want me to beat you up right here too? He scrambled to put his clothes on. No, I'm coming. Please, Chloe, calm down. Victoria stayed hidden in the bathroom, not daring to come out. Chloe marched out the front door, Michael trailing behind her like a dog with its tail between its legs. I was waiting by the door when they got home. I didn't have to ask. The guilt on Michael's face told me everything. Chloe walked in, saw him standing there, and kicked him hard in the back of the knees. He collapsed onto the floor. She kicked him again. Get your clothes and get out of my sight, she screamed. I rushed forward. Chloe, what are you doing? Stop it. What happened? She pointed a trembling finger at Michael. Ask him. Ask your husband. You're too soft on him, Alex. That's why he doesn't respect you. Slap him. Do something. Tell me what happened first, I cried. Michael, still on the floor, spoke, his voice cracking. Don't say anything, Chloe. It was my fault. All my fault. He looked at me, his eyes filled with tears. Come inside, Alex. I'll tell you everything. We sat in the living room, and he confessed. The drinking, the phone call, Victoria's lie about leaving the country, going to her house. She took advantage of me because I was drunk. Alex, I swear, I don't remember anything, but I know I didn't do anything with her. I swear it. I just sat there, numb with shock and betrayal. Chloe scoffed. Didn't do anything? Then why were you both naked? I swear, he pleaded. You know what I'm like when I drink, Alex. I just pass out. I can't do anything. Tell her. He was right. Whenever he drank too much, he was useless. It was believable. But that wasn't the point. The point was that he went, that he was tempted. I finally broke. The tears I'd been holding back streamed down my face. You still feel something for her, don't you? You regret not having her life. Why don't you just divorce me and go to her? He crawled over to me, grabbing my legs. No, Alex, please. It's true. For a moment, I was tempted. I was weak. But you and Lily, you're more important than any of that. I was wrong. I was so wrong. Please, give me one more chance. I just shook my head. Too tired. Too hurt. I have nothing more to say to you. I think we need to reconsider this marriage. Chloe clapped her hands. Yes. That's it, Alex. Be strong. This idiot needs to learn a lesson he'll never forget. Let's throw him out. Do whatever you want, I said, standing up, my body feeling like it weighed 1,000 pounds. I'm going to bed. I'm tired. As I walked away, Michael tried to follow me, but Chloe blocked his path. Where do you think you're going? Stay right there, he begged her. Chloe, please, help me. Alex is so angry with me. I don't know what to do. You deserve it, she sneered. You told her yourself you were tempted by that witch. Now I'm letting you go to her. Go. No one's stopping you. He was trapped. He knew arguing was pointless. Chloe went upstairs, into our room, and started throwing his clothes out the window. Here's your stuff. Now get lost, and don't come back. He stood outside, watching his clothes rain down around him. He gathered them up in a pathetic pile and started knocking on the door, calling our names. We didn't answer. Eventually, exhausted, he fell asleep on the front steps. I watched him from the window, a part of me aching for him, but I knew Chloe was right. Is this too harsh? I asked her. No, she said firmly. This is a test. Let's see if he can really change. If we go soft on him now, he'll do it again. So we left him there. In the morning, not wanting the neighbors to see, Chloe let him in. He tried to go upstairs, but she stopped him. Where are you going? To put my clothes away. She pointed to a small, dusty storage shed in the backyard. From now on, you sleep in there. Go clean it out. He looked at the shed, full of spiders and mosquitoes. But I can't sleep in there. Then you can leave, she said, crossing her arms. No one's forcing you to stay. Defeated, he took his pile of clothes and went to the shed. When he went to work the next day, he was handed a termination letter. He tried to see Victoria, but was told she had been hospitalized the night before with a sudden illness. No one knew that her illness was a collection of bruises and a head full of toilet water. Her phone was off. He couldn't reach her, so he went to the hospital. When she saw him, she turned her face away. "Are you okay?" he asked. "I'm fine," she said, her voice flat. "Just dying." "Are you happy now?" "I'm sorry," he said. "It's my fault this happened to you." "You said it, not me," she replied. "It was my fault for being so stubborn. It's too late now. Just go. I never want to see you again." He left the hospital with the termination letter in his hand. 5 years at that company, gone. His job, his family, everything was falling apart. For the next week, he was unemployed. He stayed home, and he worked. He cleaned the house. He did the laundry. He cooked every meal. He took care of Lily. He did everything without a single complaint. He became a completely different person. So different that Chloe and I were in shock. The man who wouldn't lift a finger was now a model house husband. After a week of this, I asked Chloe, "He seems truly sorry. Do you think I should forgive him?" She just shrugged. "That's up to you, Alex. Follow your heart. I'm not getting involved this time. But I promise you, whatever you decide, I'll always be on your side." I had been thinking about it a lot. He had changed, really changed, and I wanted to give him one last chance. Chloe teased me. "You just feel sorry for him, sleeping in that shed with all the mosquitoes. I saw you looking out the window at him last night, and maybe she was right." So, after 2 long months of him sleeping in the shed and proving his remorse every single day, I let him back into our home, into our bed. He got a new job at the company where Chloe's boyfriend worked. That way, she could keep an eye on him for me. He was still a little cheap, but that was his nature. I knew it would take time to change that completely. Sometimes, for the sake of our children, we have to live with the flood, especially when the flood waters aren't high enough to drown you completely. You learn to adapt, because in this life, nothing is 100% perfect. You gain one thing, you lose another. That's just the law of life, isn't it?